Hey friends, in today's video I'll tell you everything you need to know about salaries in Denmark. If you live in Denmark or you're planning to move to Denmark, this video will give you perspective of how much you can earn when you're living here. And that's before and after the famous Danish taxes. If you're new here, my name is Mario, and on this channel I help people in Denmark save money, optimize their investments, and live a happy and exciting life in here. A lot depends on how much you earn, so let's dive straight into it. The average employee in Denmark earns 43,487 Danish krona per month before taxes. That's data straight from the government's statistics agency. And this translates after tax, and there are a lot that goes into the calculation on how things show up after tax, to roughly 27,600 krona per month. This makes Danish salaries the highest on average in the European Union. Just a disclaimer on this is that Danish salaries are high on average as a medium, but at the higher end, salaries in Denmark are not as high as in other places, but also on the lower end, they are a lot higher than in other places. So again, on average. What we'll do now is that I just downloaded data from the government that is super detailed, and we'll go through profession by profession. What is the average you can earn here when you live in Denmark? Again, per the government's own statistics. Go through the data. I made a spreadsheet you can see over here in the screen, and this is data straight from the government. What you can see is the specific occupation, and we're talking about hundreds of occupations. Then what is the average salary for that occupation, pre-tax, monthly, and then how much is that per year? And then the number of statistics. What it means in practice is that we have, and again from the government's own statistics, an average salary for a managing director or chief executive of 104,896 krona pre-tax monthly, and 14,493 data points. Again, these are, and big disclaimer, averages. So it could be that you don't really feel identified with this data, and that's because, for example, if you're a CEO, there's 14,000 of you, and even though in some cases we get data that's pretty specific, by and large, the more generic the number is, that there's going to be a bigger and wider gap. So, because honestly, I don't expect that the Merck CEO or the Novo CEO or the Lego CEO earns as low as this. They probably earn a lot more money. And also maybe some CEOs that are not doing so well and might not listen to that. So just keep in mind, these are averages. What you can see here is that the first three lines, the three only jobs that pay you over 100,000 per month before taxes, are CEOs, chief executives, and also the most senior government officials and legislators. Again, not that there's not many people in this bucket, but those are basically the highest paid jobs. Under that, what you can see is that, at least from business roles, would be all the line managers. So we get, for example, research and development managers, IT managers, finance managers, sales managers. So basically, these are normally like the people under the CEO, a few layers down, depending on the company, depending on how complicated the company is. And those would earn between 70 and the low 80,000 as well. On top of that, there are some other professions that are not business that also pay very well. You can see aircraft pilots earning almost 100,000 per month. And then you also have some, for example, specialist medical practitioners, and a lot of the government, senior government officials and so on. Now, before we move on, just one quick disclaimer as well is that there's this expat tax deal scheme where you basically can come into Denmark and for a set period of years pay less in taxes. You need to have be a highly paid expat to get into the scheme, and normally, as far as I understand, that number is around 70,000 per month before taxes. Again, depends on the company, depends on your situation, but that's normally the rough ballpark figure I have been told it is. And that means that all these people that come with this tax deal, and I know, for example, in Merck, quite a few of them, they earn more than this. So they will be at this level. Again, like that maybe, again, excuses the numbers up in some professions as well. Just keep that in mind. With that said, moving on, what other jobs are highly paid in Denmark? You can see a lot of engineering jobs paying around 6,000. So you have the chemical engineers, you have the telecommunications engineers, you have electronics engineers, electrical systems, system analysts. Those earn 60,000 or more. And also lawyers. You see that lawyers earn 64,902 on average, again with 3,500 data points. Otherwise than that, other business roles, finance professionals, almost 60,000 a month. Business administration professionals, almost the same. Engineering professionals as a whole, so in a more generic sense, they're also around 60,000. And you can see even like software developers, you would expect is one of the hottest things in a lot of places. They earn what would be like maybe low, you would say 57,907. Again, with a big number, so you can also say maybe there's some professions under software developers that would earn more than others. And last of the engineers highlighted here, the civil engineers with 57,000. Again, I'll be linking to a website that basically can give you how much perspective you can see on like how much does this means after taxes, because the higher you are on the income bracket in Denmark, the higher your what's called top scat will be, and the top scat is 55%. So While a rough ballpark figures say that 40% of your salary will be paid in taxes, the higher you go, the more that number will be. Anyway, and then you can see in this data, and again, link down in the video description for the whole files if you want to go through it, there's a lot of different things. So what I'm gonna do now is that I'm just gonna go straight to the bottom and look through some of the jobs over here. So, as I said, Denmark is one of those places where low-paid people as well earn better than in other places, so that's going away. And you can see here, for example, childcare workers and teachers and childcare workers, they earn 28,000 a month. Cleaners and helpers around the same, hotel staff and so on, and people working in the shop, hairdressers as well. That's a rough ballpark figure they're entering as well. Shop sales people, 26,000 and so on. Waiters around the same. So a lot of the jobs that are, let's say, not as fancy in the corporate situation and so on, they still give you something to live a decent life in Denmark as a whole. But again, I'm going with a lot of data points. And the lowest paid jobs overall are the cashiers and ticket clerks. You can see at 22,000, and bartenders, a lot of the food preparation assistants, people at the kitchen. And again, this varies a lot. I know people that are bartenders that a lot more than this, and same with, for example, if you're I guess not all hairdressers are the same. But just keep in mind that these are averages, and this is the way it looks. I have shown you now the top of the list and also the bottom of the list. Just a few more data points that you might be interested about are, for example, on the creative professions. And here in Denmark, creative professions are still not as well paid as management professions, but at the same time, they're better paid than in a lot of other countries. So what are a few data points on this? Architects, they earn a bit over 50,000 per month. Dancers and choreographers, they get paid around 36,000 a month. Photographers earn over 40,000 a month. And journalists earn over 50,000 a month. So those are, again, just the overall numbers that we can see here in the data. Now, there are no statistics on how much a YouTuber earns, but if you want to help this humble YouTuber, the best way you can do so is just clicking subscribe below, because that's the way you can help this channel grow. And if the channel grows, hopefully I can make some money when some ads show up on my channel, which at the moment I'm shooting this video, I'm not making any yet. So hopefully with your support, I can do that. As I said, these are the government's own statistics. My suggestion, if you're really keen on getting to know more about the salaries, is that you should check other sources of data as well. A few more are jobindex.dk, has a good salary overview calculator as well. And also if you're part of a trade union, for example, for an engineer trade union, that type of trade union would also likely have statistics they can share with you as well. One last thing I want to show you is Glassdoor. Glassdoor is a website that is very popular, especially in other places like in the US or in the UK or part of the tech industry as well. Have a lot of good specific insights on salaries in those places. In Denmark, it's not so complete, but for example, I'm going to show you now for Maersk, for Novo, and also for Ørsted. Some professions within those companies have some solid data points, and we can go through that as well. Again, to complement what you have seen from the core. You can see here for Maersk, based on 14 data points, so it's not that we're talking about a lot. A general manager that earns around 6,000. Project manager around 45,500, and then based on 14 salaries, business analyst around 40,000, a normal manager, and that's basically like, yeah, it's corporate terminology, but you're not a really fancy manager, you don't have a team or anything. You earn around 44,000, senior project management almost 70,000, product owner 53,000, a director, which is like a higher level in a company, you can earn on average, as I say here, like 90,000. And again, these are all broad. So for example, when you click on director, you can probably see as well like the different levels within the director. So you can see here, for example, some earn over 100,000 and some earn less than 75,000. So again, that's data for Maersk. If you go to Novo, for example, you can see a student assistant earning 182 an hour based on 28 salaries. So you can see that's pretty reliable. I was not earning so much when I was a student, so you have it good now in the students in 2021. Project managers 50,000, director same as Maersk around 90,000, some scientists 80,000, managers 70,000. And if you're not sure what a manager stands for, you can always ask when you're about to go into an interview what level it is and so on, and then you can tailor to that. But again, this is more specific again to the company than the government's own statistics are. And last one, Ørsted, the student assistants earning a bit less than in Novo. So if you're a student, maybe Novo is a good, better place to go. Graduate, this is standard as well, 7 salaries, almost 40,000. Again, they have it better than when I was a graduate. Good for you guys. Analysts, 39,000, business developer 44,000, and just 2 salaries. We don't really have a lot of data here, but again, it's a good starting point. And if you go to Glassdoor, again, glassdoor.com, you can check for other different companies as well. might not have a lot of information, but I know also, for example, for academia, they do have a lot of good insights as well. Just 2 notes to finish up. As I said, that these are numbers pre-tax. So after tax, I'm going to be looking down also in the video description to a website where you can actually see for yourself how much each of these salaries would mean after tax. Again, as I said before, there are a lot of different variables that go into the after tax numbers, but again, there's these tools that will give you at least a good rough indication with like 5% variance and so on. The second thing is that a lot of these jobs have potentially big bonuses. So if you work as a consultant, you have likely big bonuses. If you work as an executive or a salesperson, you probably have big bonus. These numbers are not really being reflected in here because here we only see base pay. And again, if you're a salesperson and have a blockbuster year, or you work in a company as an executive and a company has a blockbuster year, you're gonna have a big bonus. This is not really reflected here. And again, in some professions, the bonus is gonna be like up to what, 50% or even more of your base pay, depending on different circumstances. Just keep that in mind as well. Don't get discouraged when you see some number here that looks a bit lower than you think. Again, if you have a big bonus scheme, this will look a lot better. Next up, and if you like math, there's a link out to a video over here where I explain how much it costs to raise a kid in Denmark for the first 2 years. We also go through spreadsheets, we look into a lot of numbers, I show my own personal information here as well, so make sure you click to over here in case that's what you want to see. Otherwise, see you next week. Thank you for being here.